How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Fu Show. I'm your host, Coach Ali Fusho. Today at episode 12, you have two familiar faces because in last week's episode, we had same people, Raf Cahilig, Nestor Redulla, but Miss Joyce Rebaton is just in the sides right now because she'll have a separate episode for next week, episode 13. But alright, so right now we just have the boys. Again, Raf Cahilig, Nestor Redulla. This one is going to be a lot more straightforward. We are not going to exclusively talk about the C Cup because right now we want to talk about just them and their training, how their training has evolved from when they began all the way until this point, so that they can share with you guys as much information or helpful tips, tricks, or hacks. But of course, I don't think we like using that term as much. So anything that can help you guys with regards to training and possibly some nutrition. But knowing these guys, it's going to be primarily training, because in nutrition, if you guys watched last week's episode, Nestor doesn't have a lot to add when it comes to nutrition because the only thing he adds is salt and pepper. But alright, so let's talk about training. So you, Raf, have been training for how many years already? Serious powerlifting pala.
Started in 2016, 2017, around that time. So
it's like 2016.
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
How long have you been powerlifting, Nestor?
Full powerlifting, I think 5 years. 5 to 6 years, yeah. Pero I've been training for more than 10 years.
Because of your
Weightlifting
previous
and other sport,
weightlifting. Yeah. Obviously, they're both barbell sports. It's not, of course, the exact same lifts, but you've built a lot of base strength from your weightlifting days, specifically sa squat na carry over sa powerlifting mo. So, what I wanted to talk about in this episode is to walk everyone here through how your programming has changed, or if any changes have been made from the very beginning all the way up to now. So let's start with you, Nestor. So how would you say, or again, let's be more specific, from 2016 to 2018, how was your training? Was it self-trained or did you have a coach with you?
Before, I used to do free programs from the internet. Yeah, during that. So, mostly self-coach kasi hindi ko siya ginagawa as is. Ina-adjust ko din siya based sa feeling ko. I mean, if it's too much, parang hindi ako makaka-recover agad.
Okay.
Parang may mga sumasakit na sa akin. I try to adjust, especially on bench before. So, parang sobrang dami ng bench nung program na ginagawa ko that time. So, parang ako na yung nag-self-adjust ng program para makatuloy-tuloy pa rin ako sa training. Pero yun ngayon, I'm coached by Kix Retardo, for sure. Kilala niya yan, one of the top lifters in the Philippines, the power nurse.
The power nurse.
Pero yeah, I'm being coached by Kix for I think 2 years na din ata.
2 years na rin, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so basically yung binibigay niya sinusundan ko lang.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever he gives me, yun lang, ginagawa ko lang as is. Tapos minsan nagdadagdag ako, pero more on lang, mga accessories, ganun lang. Pero yung main lift, sa kanya galing lahat.
It comes from him primarily. How about you, Raf? Like, how was in your first, you said you started 2016 or so. In your first 2 years of training, did you, similar to Raf, did you get free programs on the internet? How was it for you?
So first time, I didn't know that there was a sport na powerlifting.
Okay.
So parang I knew a bunch of guys sa gym when I went to the US. Parang, there's a sport where you do 1 rep max of squat, bench, deadlift. And then I never really had a coach to follow with there. I think they tried to coach me, my friends there, but like I just didn't follow them because what they do, like, we're doing 3x6 on squats. I'm like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. And then when I went back here, the roommate I had, he majors in sports and conditioning, strength and conditioning. So yeah, he focused on powerlifting. So siya yung naging coach ko, which is Jay Wanshroth. So siya yung first powerlifting coach ko. Tapos parang sa programming, like sa simula, ayun, madami siyang by tens, 10 reppers. I think that's just like on how you build the base. I think sa simula.
Foundation, yeah.
Yeah, foundation, sure. Tens, ganon. So taste lang. And then, nung parang pagtagal, after a few years na din, parang hindi na ganun yung programming. Low volume na siya. Parang siguro, ang max na pinakamataas na volume ko, 8 or 7.
Okay.
And then, yung weight, parang syempre mas nag-i-increase din. Tapos yung accessories, medyo nagkaroon ako ng freedom. But like, yung movement, parang there's a note there. Like, this accessory has to be this tricep dominant, quad dominant.
Okay.
Yeah, so yun. Tapos, parang along the way, got injured.
Okay.
Hindi naman nawawala yun. So,
I
yun.
think in the top level naman of any sport,
Yeah.
of course, powerlifting. Actually, I think a good example that a lot of people can immediately absorb is basketball. So we have NBA players who have the best probably nutritionist, the best therapist, like everyone that can take care of them because of course they have all the funds for everyone to take care of them. But because of the nature of the sport, the competitive level, the intensity that they play, injuries will happen nonetheless.
Yes.
So you can't automatically say, I want to emphasize, you can't automatically say that if somebody got injured, then they did something stupid. Sometimes it just happens. When you lower the bar or like misstep here or there, it's hard to put fault right away. Injuries happen. Your job as the lifter or as the coach is just to make sure that you get the athlete back on track as fast as possible. And of course, as safe as possible as well. All right. So another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys. So since you guys have been lifting for a good number of years already, I'm pretty sure there were instances in the past that a preconceived notion on how to squat, bench, or deadlift was something that you had at the very start. And then, of course, now that you're more veteran na, there were some changes. So let's ask a bit more specific. Nestor, was there any changes that you had to make that was healthier? I don't know what's funny, but okay. So can you give us how was your? We're gonna talk specifics, so it's very technical for this episode, because a lot of people want to know the technical stuff about these lifts. For your squat, what was the biggest change that you had to do from your squat form starting out and how you are squatting right now?
I think for me is since I started as a weightlifter, we tinuruan ko yung mag-squat with chest up, the usual. Chest up and super hyperextended just to try to stay upright as we can. So yun yung parang pinaka naging sakit ko before nung nag-powerlifting ako. Kasi gano'n na gano'n ako mag-squat before. And I don't know how to brace. Like, ang alam ko lang brace is inhale, all in my chest, not here.
Ay, sa taas lang.
Yeah. That's why, ganun ako mag-squat before. And even my deadlift, I used to deadlift like, it's like clean weightlifting. Chest up and super hyperextended. Ganun din ako mag-deadlift before. Pero, ayun nga, yun yung inayos ko since nag-transition ako to full powerlifting. Yung ribs down, much more neutral, yung upper body. Yun yung mga bagay na siguro kaya dahil sumasakit yung likod ko before.
Kasi
lagi ako nakaganon. It's like, nakaganon ako sobra lagi. Even my deadlift, ganun din yung itsura niya. Pero yun, naayos ko naman na siya ngayon. Yeah.
Okay. How about you? When it comes to the squat, what were the changes that you had to make from starting out before and until now?
Before kasi parang wala naman pa if you quarter squat. So
okay. So sana I get to
I was
find
a quarter squatter
hopefully
before.
I find some old footage so I can show it right
No,
now.
my God, no.
Look at Rafael Cahilig, quarter squatting.
Then yung basic stuff, yung parang yun kasi yung yung tuhod kasi, yung parang it doesn't go forward daw.
Past your
So,
toes.
yeah. So
Okay.
parang
Well, be clear, that was the previous mindset before.
Yeah. Yun lang yung
Okay.
alam ko eh. Tapos sa bench, parang kailangan laging flat back and like your arms are straight.
Oh, as in yung lower back, like everything flat.
Tapos minsan, parang when you're doing a bench press, it doesn't even have to hit the chest. Parang hanggang dito lang. So, parang, okay.
So, buhat-buhat lang. Not necessarily
Yeah.
powerlifting.
I think I started lifting kasi parang since I was 11 or 12, 13 years old. So, yun lang yung mga alam ko, mga bakal gym lang. Tapos, deadlift, parang medyo iniiwasan ko pa siya. Kahit kaya ko siyang gawin, pero iniiwasan ko kasi parang yung likod ko, I didn't really know how to brace. Ganon. And they keep telling stuff like, use your back. Parang, bakit? Paano? Kaya hindi talaga ako naging fan ng conventional noon. So when I tried to, I'm like, oh, this feels so natural.
Yeah.
When I first tried. Tapos, yun, in the long run, parang ang dami na rin ako na-try na
Different forms.
Squat. I mean, I think you've seen before that I used to squat very wide.
Yeah.
Because like, I hurt my knee. So parang binabawasan ko yung pag flexion or extension ng knees ko, so parang hindi siya sumakit. Nag-wide ako ng stance, so parang mas glute dominant yung movement ko
Yes.
and hamstrings. So yun. But then I went back again because I got injured again.
So I
yeah.
think that's something that a lot of people, the beginners out there when it comes to powerlifting, you guys haven't really experienced this yet. Throughout your years of lifting, you are going to realize that there's no such thing as perfect form.
Yes, there is no
Because
perfect form.
everyone, when it comes to year 1 or year 2 or year 3 of lifting, they are gonna make these subtle changes that
Yes.
will make big, like your squat form, whether that be bar grip width or
actually, foot angle din.
foot angle, etc. So
Yeah.
there's no, of course, people use the term, "Oh, that's textbook form."
Yeah. There's no
It's hard to say, or parang it's not right to say that, because you can say, if you were to look at these two people, if you're gonna give them just the outline of their form, his squat is gonna look really different from his squat, his bench, etc. They're not going to be like mirror images of each other. And because of that, are we gonna say, "Oh, that means that on Nestor's form is crap, is shit"?
Yeah.
Diba? Not just because it's different from Raf's. No, of course not. Because what is going to be best for Nestor is what he's doing right now. What you are doing that's best for you is what you're doing now. And I want to emphasize that probably in a year's time, it might be a bit different. Might be. So of course, the subtle, maybe, just to shoot an example, yung ring finger mo yung sa line ng
Oh, God,
bar,
yes.
or
Bench.
maybe yung index finger. Maybe each year you have a different finger that you're going to use for your alignment. Okay, so right now there are 4 people behind the camera and they're all like laughing right now. I don't know why they're laughing. This is such a wholesome show. I just said the word finger, tapos biglang, this is a family-friendly show. Grabe talaga mga Pinoy. But anyway, so once again, just to go back to that point, that it's going to be really helpful for everyone out there. Yes, as much as possible, you want to try to find the form that's going to benefit you the most, but don't be married to that form.
I
It
think
can
you
change.
You should just be like open-minded on things, on certain tips that, you can try this on this set. If it works, then use it. Diba? Parang-
Actually, with the note of being open-minded, was there ever a time that you heard advice from another lifter or another coach, and initially you were like, "Oh, that's so stupid"? Because of course, sometimes we can all be close-minded from time to time. Was there ever a time that you were so close-minded to this whatever change in training or technique, but then once you actually gave it a shot, you were like, "Oh shoot, it actually works"? Or were you just right always, all of the time? You're just a perfect lifter, Raf.
No, man. But I haven't thought of anything like that.
So for you, whenever you experienced some potential change, you tried it out naman.
Yeah.
How about you, Nestor? Was there like a major change, or were you just so like, I'm fixed in my ways?
Well, I'm the type of kasi, I usually ask, for example, Filippo.
Okay.
Parang kinukulit ko siya with my bench. Parang, ano ba? Ano ba yung word? Parang tinatry ko sa kanya itanong kung, good ba itong ginagawa kong cue?
Like so that he can give some like
I
advice.
usually ask people, kunyari, si Raf. When I see people like Raf is a strong squatter, I'll try to ask tips, parang, paano yung ganito, ganyan, setup mo ganito. I'm gonna try it myself. Because if it works, I'm gonna keep it. But if not, then don't do it.
Okay. If it hurts, don't do it.
Diba? Yung ganun.
And that's a great mindset that people should definitely adopt. Na yung hindi yung close-minded ka na you just saw one video online on TikTok
Dapat
or
laging
whatever.
as to grass.
Diba? So, whenever you hear whatever advice, no matter what platform, from whoever coach it is, absorb it, try it out for yourself so that you can have a better idea. Okay, this works for me, but it doesn't work for this person. Okay, then we're just different. You can't just say that this is the only way how to squat, how to bench, how to deadlift. So just keep an open mind. But of course, we have some parameters naman. Obviously, we don't want naman yung sa squat mo kailangan halos yung toes mo lampas na ng rack, diba? Of course, there are parameters. I think I've seen your squat na medyo malapit ka yung toes sa rack. But of course, as he mentioned, that's what got him hurt. So of course, we're not going.
Not really.
Oh, that's not the one.
No.
What's the squat form that hurt your knee?
Oh, I think I was doing tempo squat. And as you know before, medyo narrow din yung Just parang 10 reps ata yun. It was 180, 10 reps for tempo squat. And then yun, bigla siya sumakit.
Okay.
Then I tried different stances. Yun. Para kasing ayokong ma-hinder yung progress ko. Sayang kasi, if I just stop squatting,
That's
yun.
true.
And then ngayon nung nag-wide ako, ever since I got hospitalized yung recent, parang sumasakit yung glutes ko naman when I do wide squat and sumo. So, we had to mitigate. Parang, okay, baka umukay na yung tuhod mo. So, parang, dahan-dahan lang yung load management. Ayun.
Okay. Alright, so actually, since you touched on it, and we can just you don't have to spend 20 or 30 minutes on it. But to those of you who don't know, are you okay with me asking about
The injury?
the hospitalization?
Yeah.
Okay. So to those of you who don't know, this was 2021. Last year lang, no?
Yeah, last
Okay.
year lang.
So there was a PAP event, so a Powerlifting Association of the Philippines competition at Zest Power Gym. After your first squat, I believe, you
No, I completed my squat.
you completed your squats, okay. And then
I got
unfortunately, I think it's best if
bench.
you.
Yeah, when it was on my bench warming up, I was already cramping up. And on my attempts, I can barely go to the platform. Like, I was literally crawling. Because I think the space at Zest was very humid and sobrang daming tao. So, yun. And then, medyo sobrang intense ko din kasi and focused na hindi ko na yung hydration ko. But I think I have a condition kasi talaga. Parang I really sweat easily. Even nung C-Cup and yung recent Ronats, this 2022, sobrang lala ng cramps ko that I had to dry scoop hydrate.
Okay.
Yeah, so parang nung Ronats 2021, hindi pa namin na figure out on how to deal with that. So, yun. Sobrang lala ng cramps ko. Started with my legs na hindi ako makatayo. Tapos, tinry ko pa rin mag-deadlift kasi parang you need to complete the competition kahit sobrang gaan nung deadlift mo para ma-record yung
nagawa
records.
mo.
Yeah, yung nagawa mo, yeah. Tapos, parang, di ko na talaga kaya maglakad to the platform. And then, I had to lay down. I had to just say na, tinry ko pa nga magpabuhat. But then, lumala lang yung cramps na yung fingers ko nagka-curl up na, nakaganon na, pati yung tapos padiretso na siya sa dibdib yung cramping up. So I had to lay down because when you cramp up, you bend your limbs.
Yeah.
So I can bend my legs and then yung arms ko. Kaso kasi yung nag-cramp na yung likod ko. And how can I bend my back if I'm already curling up? So yun yung pinaka na-damage sa akin, yung likod ko. As in, it was cramping up for maybe 8 hours.
Oosh.
Yes, it's really bad. So yun, we had to be rushed to the hospital. We had to wait for 1 to 2 hours para sa ambulance because everyone was so busy and no one's paying attention. Tapos parang yun, we had to do it ourselves. Tapos, parang dinala ako sa hospital, got dextrose and got IV. So yun. Pero the pain was unbearable. Sobrang sakit talaga. It's like having sobrang lalang DOMS. Because when you have cramps, just after nun, masakit pa din, di ba?
Yeah.
Even though hindi na siya nagka-cramp up, yung gano'n siya kalala. Tapos it lasted for a week.
Damn.
Yung sakit.
I remember, I think I saw, you mentioned that it was hard for you to sleep because of how unbearable the pain was.
Because masakit yung likod, so I can't lay down. And hindi naman ako pwede humiga ng dapa din. Kasi sumasakit din. Parang, I don't know what, I can't describe the pain talaga. Sobrang sakit niya. Para akong awake 24 hours. Tapos, kailangan mag-rely on a higher dosage ng painkillers. I think it was tramadol. What was that? Fentanyl, yeah. We had to take fentanyl na parang on the clock siya. Parang there's a machine. Tapos may oras siya na automatic na bibigyan ako ng fentanyl. And when I need it, I can just press it.
Okay.
It was so bad. And yun. Parang after nun, na ma-hospital, luckily naman, medyo nakakalakad na ako. Pero sobrang baby steps nung lakad ko. Then, a month or so, parang nagbubuhat ako ulit. Pero parang sobrang gaan lang. Just to keep moving. Kasi isa yun sa mga na-realize ko. When you're injured, hindi pwede higa ka lang.
Yes.
Kasi mas lalong tatagal yung injury mo. You don't have to train, pero you just have to keep on moving. Kaya mas lalong minsan yung iba, mas lalong sumasakit. Parang, pahinga mo lang. Yes, you can rest. Siguro a week or a few days. Pero
Galaw pa rin
if
dapat.
you stay longer, you keep moving. So yun lang ginawa ko. So luckily, after 7 months naman, I was able to compete. Medyo nabalik yung numbers ko. I was able to squat 300 kilos again after 7 months. And same as deadlift, 300 din. Then bench. But parang hindi pa rin ako as strong as that one. So yun.
And of course, that was very unfortunate that happened to you.
Yeah.
Obviously, nobody wishes that for anyone.
Yeah.
But I believe with the recent performance that you've been having, and of course how you look right now, that initial sad story is turning into like a very strong and emotional, or like very intense comeback story. It's just proof to once again that if you're really dedicated to achieve whatever goal that you've set for yourself, you can definitely achieve it. Like sure, like whatever setback, and that was a big setback.
Yes,
a lot
very,
of people, I'm pretty
was
sure. Go.
Parang 2 years dapat recovery time ko actually.
But you made the necessary efforts to
6
recover.
months, yes.
To recover as much as, and he's okay. It's not like a rush. Like he just called it 6 months into the sky.
Yeah.
He actually recovered really, really well, and that's just a good thing. That's something for a lot of people to realize, that for your goals, it's really going to be dependent on your actions, on if you're actually going to achieve it. Because in life, naman, I'm sure, naman, of course, not to be super like motivate or whatever, but in life, lifting, career, relationships, it's not a straight linear line.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
never linear. There's always an up,
There's always
a
going to be
huge down,
bumps.
a small up, and then a bigger down, and then of
God.
course,
Yeah.
and that happens. But for you to actually reach that high,
What matters
yeah,
is you keep on going. Yeah.
yeah, that's really it. You just have to keep on showing up. So with regards to training or nutrition or whatever, outside of powerlifting even, you just really have to show up. And that's how you achieve your goals.
Yeah.
So of course, it's very unfortunate that had to happen, or that happened to Raf. But it's a strong story that a lot of people can be inspired from. Because that was definitely inspirational. As your friend, when that happened, of course, I wasn't there, but I felt like shit, because of course I care about. But of course, of course, we're friends. So I was like, oh, shit, I feel so bad, because of course I know the potential that you have, and
I
for
remember rubbing your calves
he did rub my calves.
when he was. Yeah, he was you were cramping.
I was
bad.
cramping also.
Yeah.
Because I missed my first 2 deadlifts. Then
Yes. Oh my God,
that's another stress. But of course, not about me. It's
Yeah.
about that you were able to push through with it, and once again, very inspirational. All right.
actually.
Go
Wait,
ahead.
can I just add something? Like,
Go.
it's not just like pushing then and keep on going. Don't get me wrong. Marami rin times na pumasok sa akin na I should just quit it. Like, ayoko na. Sobrang daming beses na I had. Just yun, when you get hurt, it's not always like tayo ka agad. Pwede ka naman humiga muna dyan, umiyak ka lang, labas mo lahat. Yun, yung mental din, hindi lang siya physical taxing. Sobrang taas ng mental challenges nun. Kasi, and you need to let it out. Kasi the longer you hold on to it, parang mas mabigat. Tsaka parang mas lalo ka magre-regress. So, tanggapin mo lang lahat. Parang, progress ka, tapos sumakit uli, iyak ka lang, tapos bawi ka lang. But don't push too hard. Ganun lang yun.
It's again, you wanna work hard, sure, but you also have to work smart.
Yes, exactly.
Hindi man pwede yung push lang, kasi that's going back to the no pain, no gain mentality.
And take care din yung mentally and emotional state niyo.
Yeah. In any sport, and it's also true for powerlifting, the mental aspect is extremely strong, because it's really like it's either a red light or a white light. So of course that pressure or everything, that pressure that you put on yourself. So if you're able to maintain composure, be composed for your entire program, of course that's gonna help set you up for better progress. All right. So of course let's try to change the mood now, because of course that was kind of a sad story, but he's good now. Let's talk about training once again. So you guys have, of course, we've talked about your changes in the form, the slight changes in the form. Now, with regards to, I want to touch on programming, because a lot of people, when they're starting out for lifting, for powerlifting specifically, they always search what program. Then a lot of people program hop, change like every 2 weeks. They do a different day one, and of course that's not gonna be helpful, because it was Joyce's one who mentioned it. Now you just have to stick to the program, stick to the plan, because that's what's gonna help you progress. But you guys have probably experienced a lot of different forms of programming. what was the one? And I know you've self-coached yourself. You've had more than one coach, of course, in the past. What was the one, or was there ever a type of programming that really clicked with you, that suddenly your progress sped up a bit more?
I think yung kay kicks.
Okay, kicks, okay.
Yeah, it's a mix
Damn
of percentage and RPE din. Kasi before I used to do like percentage.
Oh, okay.
So kung puyat ako or
So,
kung
maski
90% yung nakalagay, wala akong pake kung di ako nakakain. Yun yung gagawin ko. Pero syempre it's not a best
Ideal.
way to do it.
It's not sustainable, I guess.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. Especially if, alam mo yun, if hindi lang naman powerlifting yung ginagawa mo. Syempre, I have work.
You have work, yeah, of
May other
course.
stuff akong ginagawa din outside powerlifting. So, yeah, yung kay kicks kasi mas nakaka-recover din ako. So, I can manage it. Mas
Okay.
like, if RPE 7 lang siya, pwedeng chill lang, ganito. Then may days na, yun, kailangan mo siya i-push din.
Okay. Sorry, just can you briefly give a rundown for those for the viewers that might not know? Like, what is the difference between percentage training and RPE training?
Percentage is just based on your 1 rep max. So, basically, ano lang siya. Kunyari, 85% nung 100 mo, kung yun yung nakasulat, like 6x2, you have to do it. I mean, whatever.
Mas kaning percentage na rin.
Yeah, yun yung gagawin mo. Oo. RPE is yun. Tsaka pag RPE kasi parang self-regulate siya. Yeah, I mean, kung feel good ka today, RPE 8, you might hit maybe 90. Or
Okay.
next week, if pagod ka sa work, stress,
Baka
if it's
mas mababa,
RPE 8, pwede mong babaan konti. Depende sa feel mo.
But at the end of the set, it is an honest.
Yeah, still
RPE.
work, yeah. Oh, yeah.
A common issue that a lot of people, I guess newer lifters or intermediate lifters go through is they don't have a good grip on how to actually gauge themselves. Because of course, it's rate of your own perceived exertion. There are some people, of course, hindi naman sa pa-ego lift lang sila. Sometimes they just can't tell for themselves. RPE 6 na ba to? Then when you look at the video, it's obviously a 9 or a 10 na. Diba? I'm assuming at the beginning, was it hard for you guys to get a good grip on how RPE was? Or were you just a perfect lifter na? Nagets mo na kaagad ba?
No, mostly sa akin parang undershooting.
So can you just press close?
So, yun for me, parang mostly nag-undershoot ako lagi. I didn't know which is RPE 8 or yun.
Okay.
Pero, ang pinakamahirap kasi na-gauge na RPE was yung mga 6, yung 7, ganun.
That's true.
Pag 8 and 9, medyo alam mo na sa sarili mo.
Especially if it's a 10. You know if it's a 10. Kung nasa side ka na, alam mo na yun.
It's an RPE 8 na. But yeah, yun lang yung mga pinakamadaling basis sa akin din kasi RPE. Doon talaga ako nagsimula. And then later on, naging mix RPE and percentage. Which is, I think, is a good approach din.
It's a hybrid approach.
Para kasing minsan pag RPE, yung iba nagsasandbag on how much weight they put on their
Okay.
workouts. So yun.
What advice can you give somebody who's trying to get used to RPE? I think I know the answer already, but what would be a more ideal error, to undershoot or to overshoot? Of course, both are not ideal.
Kaya nga, yun nga yung naisip ko.
But sige, what do you think can make the person learn more?
Overshoot.
My bias is overshooting.
Yes, overshoot.
Obviously, we're gonna agree that you're gonna feel like shit afterwards.
Yes.
You're probably if you've been overshooting for how many sessions or weeks in a row, your fatigue is gonna definitely accumulate.
Yeah.
But past that negative hurdle, you realize, okay, so RPE 10 pala yung ganito, RPE 9. Kasi if you're keep on undershooting, yun pala it's
You're not gonna
far
get,
off.
yeah. Hindi mo mag-gauge yung upper 8 and 9 and 10.
I feel like of course again we want to emphasize that it's not ideal to do so, and I fear that a lot of people be like, oh, sabi ni Raf tsaka ni Nestor, okay lang daw mag-overshoot. Nakita ko yung IG story nila, 300 plus kilos.
Wala kami dyan.
Grabe talaga these role models.
But yeah, it's really, that's the truth. That's the truth eh. Parang that's how you learn.
You'll never know it until you experience it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's
You'll never know the feeling.
exactly. So it is, you can't expect the lifter to be perfect with their RPEs right off the
Kahit
bat.
naman kami, overshoot din kami.
Even even after how many years na, diba?
Recent ko, prep namin sa Sika few weeks before, we were failing our
Yeah,
Tatlo kami.
Really?
overshoot,
Nag-fail
let's
kayo?
go.
How many weeks
Syempre, di
prior?
namin
Like 2 or
pinost.
3 weeks?
What? Yeah, mga ganun.
2 weeks out. I think
2 weeks out,
yeah.
nag-fail kayo?
Fail kami sa deadlift.
Deadlift. Yeah, 2 weeks
Hindi,
out.
pero nakasal pa kasi yung number sa akin. So I don't know about them, if RPE sa kanila.
Sa akin, RPE that day.
So, poor choice lang at that day.
Yeah, poor
Yeah,
choice.
pero kasi minsan yung warm-ups mo before, parang, this is so fast.
Parang sabi.
Sabi, di ba? So,
Tapos dadagdag ka.
dagdag ka ng bend.
Hindi umangat.
Tapos di aangat. I'm like,
Anong nangyari?
but yeah.
It happens. Of course, you can.
It happens, yeah.
There's, I think you guys will agree with this. There's no perfect prep, I guess. Of course, if you stay as close to the structure of the
you get
program,
lucky, you might
that's lucky. I think even with these veteran lifters, I think Joyce can agree with this as well, that it's hard to. She mentioned it, stick to the program. But when it comes to RPE, sometimes it just you make mistakes. But if 9 out of 10 times you hit the mark, then I think that's good. And actually, that's pretty good already. Like to have a 9 out of 10 shot for RPE. So, would you advise a beginner, like when I say beginner, like wala pang 6 months into lifting, would you suggest they go for RPE already or percentage training? I know there are pros and cons, but I think that's why I want your guys' insight on it.
Yeah, siguro for me, I think mas okay ata mag-start sa percentage.
Percentage.
Yeah, kasi I think it builds something with your mental. Alam mo yun, pagka... kasi not every session hindi ka lang mag-undershoot. Parang may sessions na kailangan mo i-push konti. Yeah, alam mo yun, parang... Kasi pag RP ka, minsan baka bababaan mo lang yung buhat mo.
Isa rin yung
Ganun.
issue sa mga coaches.
Might go too low pala. No?
Yeah, too low.
Isa rin issue yun sa mga coaches, parang they're RPE based. Paano yung atleta mo hindi marunong mag-gauge ng RPE? So halos lahat ng buhat niya undershoot. So magtataka, bakit di nagpa-progress? So I think that's one of the reasons then.
So pros and cons. So
Yeah.
I guess for the two of you, RPE was really helpful towards the end. Of course, a struggle at the start, but if I'm assuming based on what you said, nga, na percentage has its benefits, but for the more advanced lifters, I feel like it's gonna benefit them more because the fatigue that they accumulate is definitely a lot more than somebody who's been lifting for 3 or 4 months lang. So yung fluctuations on how yung readiness nyo, yung fatigue nyo might vary like from day 1 to day 2 or like different weeks. So I think RP is gonna be good. It's harder to learn, but it might grant you much more progress towards the end. Okay, so we talked about accessories in the previous episode. I want this is something that a lot of people do ask actually quite frequently to me and other coaches as well. And of course, our favorite accessories for each lift can change from phase to phase, cycle to cycle. But right now, or actually, can you let me know what are your top 2 squat accessories each? You guys can of course have the same answers, naman.
High bar squats.
Oh, because you primarily squat low bar.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and
high bar.
tempo.
When you do your tempos, normally what's the count?
Competition squat.
No,
low bar.
what's the count of your tempo?
Sa akin 300.
Oof. How's yours?
Well, variation squat, isang day ko yung malala yung 303.
Hirap. Mas hirap yun.
Yes.
That's never fun.
Pero hindi naman siya ganun karami rep. Pero yung accessories talaga as in yung with isolation movements.
You can actually anything, whether that be main lift variations or like isolation.
Accessory, okay.
Anything. So supplementary accessory, whatever terminology. Like, so what are the 2 lifts that has helped your squat the most? Is it yung high bar and yung tempo? How about you? That you felt that wow, when you did that accessory or supplementary work, boom, it helped immediately for your main lift, or it just clicked with you?
Well, para sa akin, since I got injured, the one that helped me the most is yung tempo squat talaga. Actually, if you look at my program, wala akong comp squat.
Panay tempo.
Puro
Actually, based on your post.
300 and 303, yun lang. And
Tapos
then
pag peak na dyan na yung comp.
No, not even.
Wala din.
Okay.
No, I'm serious.
No, I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying that's so I've never heard. Dinududa.
Pero yung iba pang accessories that I really enjoyed kasi since like I said earlier, sumasakit yung glutes ko on wide stance and sumo, was split stance dumbbell RDL.
Ooh. Okay, sarap.
Yeah. So parang medyo mas nararamdaman mo na.
Per glute, no?
Yeah, per glute talaga. Yung isa sa mga na-enjoy ko.
Did you have asymmetrical ba yung glutes mo? Is one bun bigger than the other bun? Isa ba pandesal? Isa
Check natin mamaya.
Check natin mamaya. Sige. May
dahil
sa Patreon. Joke lang.
But yeah, isa yun sa mga na-enjoy ko and very sustaining siya. Parang,
Okay.
hindi lang siya parang hindi siya lang siya nakaka-help sa buhat. Parang, yung
Just keeps
durability
you-
din ng katawan. Yeah, it keeps you
Okay,
healthy.
that's
Yeah.
actually a great way to understand how helpful accessory work is.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to boost
Yes.
your main lift, but it's just to make you durable and healthy enough to continually pursue or progress the main lift. Okay, that's a great way to perceive.
Yeah. Parang feeling kasi nila yung iba accessory, pampalakas lang. But no, we actually had that term before. May coach ako, bulletproofing my back. Parang basically palalakasin talaga. I
Exactly.
did have paused conventional deadlift back when I was still sumo deadlifting 300 plus. So, yun. Parang I had that maintenance na every week you have paused conventional just to make your back stronger. Ganun.
Healthier to be able to handle the loads.
Yes.
Okay. For the bench presses, Nestor, what accessory or supplementary or like variation has helped you the most?
I think for me, close grip.
Close
grip, yeah.
Close grip bench. When you say close grip, how much closer? Like an inch closer lang ba? Or
No, very close.
shoulder width, you would say?
Yeah, it's like,
Okay.
isa may guhit mismo.
Okay.
Yeah. Parang siguro mga half an inch lang.
Okay. How about you, Raf?
I think isa sa mga na yung on how to maintain bench is yung Larsen tsaka yung feet up. Para kasing mas nag-guide ko kung saan pupunta yung bar.
Without depending so much on your leg drive.
Yeah, without the sa leg drive. So yun.
That's true. Actually, that's why I've been seeing a lot of lifters reusing the Larsen or feet up bench in their variations now. I mean, of course, leg drive is helpful, but of course, no matter how strong your leg drive is, if your pressing strength isn't strong to begin with, of course, it's not gonna like amount to much.
Tsaka I think isa pa is yung 2 count post bench. A lot of lifters don't pause their bench.
I'll zoom in on that.
So parang isip-isip ko, parang if I'm just gonna suffer, I might as well pause all my reps sa bench. Parang kasi kesa matawagan ako sa comp.
That's
I'd rather
true.
suffer na sa training, diba?
For sure, at least it's gonna be a good lift.
Yeah.
Okay, and a lot of people do fail coming off the chest.
Yes,
They either they fail it, like it doesn't go an inch off their chest, or they just they misgroove.
Soft touching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of errors that can happen in the bench if they're just weak to begin with at the very bottom. And of course, it's at the bottom of the bench where you're the most vulnerable to begin with. So the 2 count pause at the bottom is really going to be helpful. For the deadlift, was there any major variation that helped you out? I mean, you mentioned your pause conventional. Was there for you, Nestor? Was there any lift that helped boost your deadlift?
For sumo, I think conventional deadlift.
Basically, the opposite stance will help it out. Okay. Any isolation work? Doesn't matter for whether that be squat, bench, or deadlift. Do you have any recurring isolation work that has helped you or that's been continuously placed in your programming?
For me, wala eh. Conventional lang talaga. Yeah,
No, like for any lift actually. Sorry.
Okay. Any lift. Isolation. RDLs, ganyan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hindi mo isolation yung RDL.
Siguro tricep extensions.
Single leg extensions.
Single leg extensions. Okay, it's helped you a lot for
Yes,
you.
and also single leg press.
Okay. Just to promote the symmetry, of course.
Yes.
Of course, I mean, all of us are not. No one's perfectly symmetrical,
Yes.
but we're gonna try to aim for that as much as possible to be able to. Because of course, it's a bilateral sport. You want to make sure that you're really producing as much as possible equal amount of power. Because I naman natin, no one's gonna say that it's ideal to press and then with the other side then go. So as much as possible, symmetry is gonna be helpful. Now, when it comes to, I think, muscle groups that aren't necessarily the prime movers for the squat, bench, and deadlift, we have, of course, your upper back. Because, of course, a lot of people say that you're only as strong as your back. And to some extent, that does make sense. To some extent. What are your favorite upper back exercises? Because, of course, that does help your squat, bench, and deadlift.
I mean, barbell rows and pull-ups.
Very straightforward, no?
Yeah.
Same with you?
Yeah, I do face pulls.
Face pulls. Okay, what variation? Because I know there are like quite a number of them.
Just the regular one. Just face pulls.
Basta ginagawa mo.
Yes, the one with the rope. So yun. And what else? Pull downs.
Pull downs,
Because I can't do a pull up.
So when are
I
you
think
gonna
I
be?
can, but I might break my arms.
So when will Mr. Rafael Cahilig be able to do
I can
his
do a
first
pull-up.
5 pull-ups? Na strict, na dead hang.
I'm gonna tag you. I'm gonna do it.
And hopefully, of course, I'm pretty sure once you're able to do that, mas mafe-feel mo mas healthy ka na actually. Kapag 105 ka na lang siguro.
Yes.
But alright, so actually, I think we were able to talk about a lot of things that a lot of new lifters, intermediate, or even the seasoned lifters out there can definitely benefit from the conversation that we just had. So before we finish it off, where can people find you on social media? Let's start with you, Nestor.
General_Redulla on Instagram. And pwede ko ba i-plug yung
Go,
page
go,
ko?
go, plug whatever you
General
want.
on Facebook, my streaming page. And on Twitch as well. So yung A niya is 4 kasi Jeju ako. Pero yeah, you can
I
find
don't
me
think
there.
I've heard that term in like 10 years.
So pag wala ako sa gym, nandun lang ako sa streaming page ko. So yeah, give me a follow there. Say hi.
Yeah, so make sure that you follow because he's a pro gamer and pro level pro streamer. How about you, Raf? Where can people find you online?
Just on Instagram, I think Rap Strength, because I'm generic like that. I'm planning to do YouTube, but like I don't have.
TikTok.
TikTok mo.
Wala ako nun.
Just search it there. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere there. Rafael Cahilig TikTok.
It's there on TikTok, so yun. Just to
But you mentioned that you plan to do YouTube. Oh yeah, that's so good. I mean, that's the more I feel like that's gonna be very, very helpful for the community. I mean, of course, for you, you're doing it for yourself and whatever you want. But if one of the biggest names in the Philippine scene does it, that's gonna be a great. It's gonna pioneer a lot more lifters to be more inspired. Because of course, the stories or the success that you guys have been doing. Of course, a lot of people have messaged you privately. But the impact that you guys have been doing for the community is really, really amazing. So thank you for that. And I thank you for being on the show once again. I definitely do appreciate all of this. All right. That was episode 11, guys. We'll see you guys next week for episode 12 with the queen, the one and only Joyce Ribaton.